Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Penny Quintana.
And she is my co-teacher that I worked for the RAFT project on U.S. history class. And I did this at Pueblo West High School with 9th grade students, and most of them were Hispanic students that have transferred in from all over because this is an open school.
Right.
The lessons that I ended up teaching, we actually did 3 of them because of the time frame. We took the raft on day 1 and went ahead and explained it and modeled it. And while I was working the board, Penny here worked the projector for the students and answered questions as we went through it. By the end of that, we went ahead and did a practice raft with the students to make sure that they understood exactly what each letter stood for and how to set up their paper. By the end of class, we went ahead and explained that we were going to go ahead and put this into practice with a Facebook project. So for the second day, we did what was called Facebook Flashback, where we gave them a historical figure to work with. And we divided the class in half, and we did a practice run where Penny took some of them and gave them a person, and they created a Facebook page based off of a template that we provided, and they discussed it, made sure they had all the parts down, so we could move on to day 3 to where we went ahead and made the full Facebook page, and then they got to share them with the class, and each person gave back constructive feedback for all the people they presented on. As for what went well with the lessons, the co-teaching I think worked out really well because of how we divided them up, because it was a big class and they needed that one-on-one attention. And for me, it was interesting because I was working with a traditional teacher.
Right, very structured teacher.
She
And I, in turn, learned a lot from Amy in terms of new techniques that can actually help my students be successful, much more successful than they normally would have, because I generally am not a hands-on or cooperative type teacher, but that was one technique that I did learn from Amy. I also was assisted with her helping me out with understanding rubrics and using those rubrics to grade students holistic instead of just straight.
So overall, it went, I think we had more positive outcomes.
Very positive. The end product was positive.
Yeah. They
came out nice. The students enjoyed it. They enjoyed sharing the lesson with each other, and they learned from each other.
Which was big.
That was very big.
What didn't go so well would have probably been the fact that we were kind of time crunched.
Right. We didn't have the time. We probably would have needed a longer period of time, but because of what you have to cover in the lesson, that time wasn't allotted. We had 3 days, but that was about it.
Let's see here. Well, co-teaching, I think, especially for history class, is actually, I think, a good support to have.
It's very good.
The kids do better when they get more one-on-one to understand the facts and the concepts and everything they need to cram into their brains for an entire chapter, and then some.
Right. In addition to that, extra support helps them because it's such a diverse group of learners. You have those that are ESS, you have those that are very well and can read well, then you have those that are not reading very well. So the fact that they were working in a group became the support that they needed to be successful. And then having Amy in the classroom helped because her way of instruction and advice for instruction helped those kids that were struggling in the class. So that was a benefit to them because she actually had a different manner of looking at how to present the material to those kids that were a little slower. And then they too enjoyed the project because they could be successful.
Yeah, so we got to combine her in-the-box teaching with my out-of-the-box teaching.
Right.
And we met on the flap of the box.
That's right. And it was very
And it worked.
successful. It was, because when you have been in this profession for a long period of time, it's good to be exposed to other methods and pedagogy, and that's how I benefited from it.
Yeah. And I definitely benefited from her structured based, because I am a little more of a weaned type person. But structure is always good.
So a combination of both techniques worked well, and students were successful, and the end product was good.
Yeah. My teaching would change, I think, just to probably do a little more co-teaching. It does make things easier. You get more than one way of thinking, and students really like it because they get to work with both teachers and get different points of views on things. And this works for all demographics, especially with ESS students, because then they get to try something different and we can give them more attention and materials that they need, because we can actually split up the class and work together that way.
And it's always good for other students to work with students that may be more capable, because then they learn from each other.
Yeah.
And they're talking to each other, so they're helping each other to understand versus just simply listening to the instructor.
Yep. So overall, we had a good time.
A great experience.
And we would probably do it again in the future if I ever have time.
Right.
So, thank you. Bye.